If someone saw your van pull up on the street, would they know what it was? Would they know that it was there for them? If the answer is no, this video is for you. Most organizations treat their app as a branding decision, something that you get to after the van is purchased and the program is up and running. It's a nice to have if the budget stretches that far, but a plain white van is invisible. If people can't tell what your van is, they can't use your service. Their app isn't marketing, it's access. We've been upfitting vehicles for over 20 years. And in that time, we've seen what happens when your wheelchair accessible van or mobile clinic van shows up either in a wrap or without one. The difference is way more than cosmetic. In this video, we're going to cover what a wrap actually is, whether it damages your paint, how it compares to painting your vehicle, how long it lasts, and whether or not it's worth the money. This is everything you need to make an informed decision. So, what is a vehicle wrap? Well, it's actually simpler than it sounds. It's a layer of vinyl film applied directly over your van's existing paint. You have the option of doing full coverage, just part of the van, or even just decals on some of the doors. But what most organizations don't account for is the cost of having a plain white van. And that applies whether you're running a wheelchair accessible transportation service or a mobile clinic. The vehicle itself becomes part of the service that you're offering. And if the folks you're trying to reach can't tell what the van is when it rolls up, they're not going to come anywhere near it. Let's be honest, a plain white van looks like it could be a delivery truck, a contractor, or really anyone else's vehicle. And the people that you're going there for, they don't even notice it. For the person that's wondering whether or not that van is there for them, the wrap answers that question as soon as it comes into view and before anyone even has to ask. A wrap tells them who you are, what you're offering, and confirms that your service is there for them. Now, when most organizations hear the words vehicle wrap, they hit a bit of a wall, and we always get the same question. Want to wreck the paint? Now, being worried about your vehicle's paint is a legitimate fear, but in this case, it's actually counterintuitive. A professionally installed wrap actually acts as a barrier to protect your paint from anything that the road or Mother Nature might throw at it. That includes things like UV exposure, minor scratches, and just general debris. That said, of course, it is only a thin layer of vinyl over your vehicle, so it's not going to protect your vehicle in the event of a deep scratch or a collision or something like that. Now, because of that protection, when the wrap does eventually come off, say your vehicle's moving to a new organization or you're getting a new one, the panels that a wrap has been covering are generally in better condition than the panels that the wrap hasn't been applied to. For the vehicles that we build, protecting that original paint for our customers has real value. A wrap affects your resale value, the longevity of the original body that it's been applied to, and most importantly, the perception of your organization in the eyes of your customer. Now, there is a big caveat to all this good news. The benefits of a wrap need two things: professional installation and a quality vinyl wrap. A cheap wrap, removed badly, can actually take the paint with it. A professional installation is absolutely vital. It will save you not only money, but also time down the line. So your concerns about paint damage are legitimate, but they're pointed in slightly the wrong direction. A professionally applied wrap is protection, not a risk. Now, at this point in the video, you might be convinced on the benefits of wrapping your van, but you've probably still got that nagging question: what is this all going to cost? Now, these numbers are estimates only and, like all pricing, subject to change. A full wrap on a commercial van is going to run you about $12,000. Now, if that sounds like a lot, basic decals such as your organization name and maybe a logo on a door are going to run you closer to $2,000. Compare those numbers to painting. To do a full custom paint job on your vehicle with whatever you want on it, you're looking at a minimum of $15,000 and probably a lot more. And that paint job, it's going to take your vehicle off the road for weeks. A wrap, on the other hand, your vehicle's in and out of the shop in just a few days. And the biggest difference between those two things is what happens with your van when something changes. Regardless of whether it's a big or a small change, for everything from the donor of your entire program changing and requiring different branding to something small like your phone number changing, or maybe you've moved to a new and bigger office. With paint, you're pretty much spending that same cost all over again just to get a little change done on your vehicle. A wrap, on the other hand, you can remove just a section of it and replace just what you need to. That could be done at a fraction of the price. If your organization is running on grant funding or community support, that cost difference makes a big impact, especially if you're serving communities that evolve rapidly or even change slowly. That is worth a lot more than it looks like on paper. The last question that people have about wraps is durability. And this one actually tends to surprise people. The worry is that a vinyl wrap might peel, especially in Canadian winters. And it's fair. With cheap vinyl and poor insulation, that's a real risk. But as long as you spend the money on professional installation and a quality vinyl wrap, you're likely to get 5 to 7 years of lifespan out of it. And for programs that keep their vehicle clean, well-maintained, and out of the sun where they can push that number even higher. It's worth noting that for big commercial vehicles like the ones used for wheelchair vans and mobile clinics, they're big and flat. They're a lot easier to put a wrap on than a small car with all sorts of fancy curves on it. Because of that, these vehicles actually tend to hold wraps longer instead of shorter. So let's just run the numbers. A $12,000 wrap over a 7-year lifespan works out to about $1,700 a year, or about $5 a day. For a vehicle that's out in the community every day, that's not a hard number to justify. So a wrap on your wheelchair accessible van or mobile medical clinic is way more of a practical decision than it is just a cosmetic one. At the end of the day, people can't use a service that they don't recognize. A wrap van closes that gap, protects your paint, costs less than painting, and doesn't lock you in when things change. It also holds up a lot longer than people expect, especially on the types of vehicles that we build. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel, put your questions down in the comments. We're always here to help.